Some stories make you question justice. Others make you question humanity. But this one does both. For 20 long years, a man named Eli Turner woke up every morning behind cold steel bars. Not because he was guilty, but because someone wanted him to be. He watched seasons change through a barred window, wrote letters that were never answered, and prayed to God he wasn't even sure was listening anymore. They said he killed a young woman named Sarah Jennings. They said they had proof. But what they really had was a lie. It would take 2 decades, one determined journalist, and a piece of forgotten evidence to finally reveal the truth. A truth so painful that even freedom felt like punishment. This is the story of Eli Turner, a man the system broke, before the truth set him free. It was a rainy evening in 2001 in the small town of Harrison Ridge, Tennessee, the kind of place where everyone knew everyone and strangers stood out. Sarah Jennings, a 24-year-old waitress at Miller's Diner, left work just after 11 p.m. She was kind, soft-spoken, and always offered rides home to coworkers who needed one. But that night, she was alone. Her car was found the next morning, abandoned on a dirt road near the woods. The driver's door was open, her handbag dumped out, and one of her earrings lay in the mud. Sarah was missing. By noon, half the town was out searching, and by nightfall, she was found in a shallow creek behind the old sawmill. The news broke hearts and spread fear, but it also demanded answers. And in a town desperate for someone to blame, Eli Turner, a quiet, 28-year-old mechanic who lived alone, became the perfect suspect. Eli was known around town as the man who kept to himself. He fixed cars, minded his business, and barely spoke more than a few words to anyone, but that made him easy to misunderstand. A customer once complained that Eli stared too long. Someone else claimed he'd been acting strange near the diner. None of it was true, but once rumors start, they don't stop. Then came the so-called evidence. Police said they found Sarah's hair on Eli's jacket, a jacket that had been sitting in his truck for weeks. They said a witness saw him driving near the creek that night, and most damning of all, they claimed he confessed, except he hadn't. He'd been questioned for 12 hours straight, without a lawyer, until exhaustion and fear broke him. "I just wanted it to stop," Eli would later say in a letter from prison. "I said whatever they wanted me to say, just so I could sleep." By the time his trial began, the town had already decided he was guilty. The prosecution called it an open and shut case. The defense barely fought back. Eli's court-appointed lawyer didn't question the DNA test that had matched a hair found on his jacket. He didn't challenge the witness who changed her story 3 times. And when Eli tried to speak, the judge told him to let his lawyer handle it. It took the jury only 3 hours to convict him. Life in prison. No parole. Sarah's parents cried in the courtroom. Eli's mother fainted in the hallway. And just like that, one life ended in a grave, and another in a cell. Prison changes people. For Eli, it was slow and cruel. He spent years in a cell the size of a walk-in closet, a steel bed, a tiny sink, a toilet bolted to the wall. Every morning, he wrote the same words in a notebook. "I didn't do it. One day, someone will listen." But no one did, not for years. He lost his appeal in 2004. His mother passed in 2008. He wasn't allowed to attend the funeral. And by 2012, Eli had stopped writing altogether. He was 40, quiet, broken. But then, in 2021, something changed. Her name was Rachel Price, a 32-year-old investigative journalist working for a regional paper. She came across Eli's case while researching wrongful convictions in Tennessee. The more she read, the less it made sense. The DNA analysis, done with outdated methods. The witness testimony, inconsistent. The confession, not even recorded. Rachel drove 6 hours to Harrison Ridge and requested the case file. The sheriff's department said it had been lost in a fire. But when she pressed harder, a retired deputy reached out. Off the record, he said not everything burned. He handed her a single evidence box, scorched but intact. Inside it, under old photos and reports, was something shocking. A sealed bag containing a cigarette, but collected at the crime scene but never tested. It was the same type found near Sarah's body, the same brand Eli never smoked. Rachel contacted a DNA lab in Nashville. With modern technology, even the smallest trace could tell a story. When the results came back 2 weeks later, her hands trembled. The DNA didn't match Eli Turner. It matched Deputy Frank Dillard, the officer who led the original investigation. At the time of the murder, Dillard was 29, newly promoted, and secretly involved with Sarah Jennings. When she ended their relationship, he didn't take it well. The police report never mentioned that connection. But Rachel found text messages, old photographs, and testimony from Sarah's friends that painted a clearer, darker picture. Frank Dillard had framed Eli Turner to save his own career. The story broke online before the state could react. Headlines read, "Innocent man served 20 years for deputy's crime." The governor ordered a full review within 48 hours. Eli Turner was released on March 17, 2022, 20 years and 3 months after the night he was arrested. When the prison gates opened, he didn't smile. He didn't cry. He just looked up at the sky, blinking hard, as if the sunlight was too much to bear. "I don't even know who I am out here," he whispered to Rachel. She replied softly, "You're the man they couldn't break." Frank Dillard was arrested 2 months later after DNA confirmation and a reopened investigation. He confessed during interrogation, saying, "She was going to ruin my life. I did what I had to do." He was sentenced to life without parole. Eli received a state settlement, $2 million for wrongful imprisonment, but no amount of money could replace 20 lost years. He spent his first night of freedom in a small motel room, staring at the TV like it was something from another world. He ordered pancakes for dinner, something he hadn't tasted since 2001. When asked if he forgave Dillard, he said, "I forgave him a long time ago. I just wanted the world to know the truth." Rachel later wrote in her article, "Justice doesn't expire with time. Sometimes it only needs someone brave enough to reopen the box everyone wanted to forget." And she was right. Eli Turner became a symbol, not of tragedy, but of endurance. A reminder that truth, no matter how deeply buried, finds a way out. He now works with a nonprofit that helps other wrongfully convicted inmates find legal aid. When asked what he learned from 20 years behind bars, he said that the worst prison isn't made of walls. It's made of silence. But the truth, that's freedom. Some mistakes can be corrected. Some can only be remembered. Eli Turner lost half his life to a lie. But in the end, the truth gave him back his name. If you believe justice should never stop seeking the truth, subscribe for more real stories like this one. Because sometimes the most unbelievable stories are the ones that actually happened.